I want to welcome you to another edition of Joe's Politics 101. Today is September the 30th, 2013. And as we sit here today and, think about the situation that we have on a national level, government shutdown, supposedly at midnight tonight, and how it's supposed to affect everyone. Over the last, really during all of the summer, since the Congress took their break, I've been pretty much watching this thing that Ted Cruz, Mike Lee, and Rand Paul and all of that crew been doing, trying to defund Obamacare, or the health care reform bill, as it comes to become active tomorrow. One of the things that I've sort of been thinking about, is that the radical Republican Party and their sidekicks, the Tea Party, think they have reached their goal of trying to destroy democracy and a nation of progress and growth. Thinking back to when Barack Obama won the election in 2008, the Republican Party and its racist right-wing Tea Party factions decided that an Afro-American could not succeed and be effective as the leader of the United States because it would set a precedence for other minorities and women to become president of the United States. So from day one, their strategies have been to make him fail at everything he attempted to do. All the demonizing and name-calling and lies. 5 years and counting, they are still at it, attacking the very heart of our nation, the economy, and the well-being of average working-class American citizens. The arguments of the Republican Party against health care reform don't make sense. Repealing or defunding a law without the full consent of the Congress and the President. Just think about how much money the House of Representatives have wasted in man hours taking votes on repealing the health care reform. Now, when I look at the leadership of the Republican Party, John Boehner, I've always seen John Boehner as a joke, as a phony. It don't take a rocket scientist to see through people like him. I said in my book, Radical Republican Tea Party, that John Boehner was not a leader. Well, 3 years later, if you happen to have read my book, 3 years later, it's plain to see, that he's not a leader. He hasn't did anything constructive since he's been the Speaker of the House of Representatives. He's been led around by people like Rand Paul, Eric Cantor, all of the different Tea Party guys that have showed up. He's afraid. And the thing that bothers me about someone like John Boehner is the fact that he's been in the Senate a long time. He's been in the Congress for a long time. He's got his time in. He's a millionaire already. So why are you worried about whether or not you're going to be, if you're such a good leader and if you're such a good politician or whatever, why are you worried about having to run against somebody? If I'm in a position of power and I'm doing my job, I have confidence that my job, my record, is going to stand for me. So, when I look at these people who are talking about, they're going to get a Tea Party member that's going to primary them and run against them, blah, blah, blah. What that tells me is the person that's holding that position must not need it because he's not confident enough to be in charge or to be able to ward off some jerkball that's coming out there with some radical crap about the government and how people should be and what people should do. You know, I wouldn't never even worry about it, win, lose, or draw. But John Boehner don't have all that to worry about. He's got time in. He's got enough time in. When he leaves, he's going to leave with a fat retirement. A fat retirement from his job where he's at. And he can go play golf, get drunk, smoke cigarettes, do whatever the heck he want to do. He won't have to be under all that stupid pressure that he's under now because he's not doing his job. So he might as well just go on about his damn business. You know, having said that, I want to talk a little bit about the Tea Party guys, you know. And, you know, a lot of people say, well, you shouldn't say things like that about people because you really don't know them, blah, blah, blah. Well, let me start with Rand Paul. You know, this is my personal view. You know, and I could be wrong. And if I am, I'll gladly suck it up and swallow if I'm wrong. But I've always seen the Tea Party as a whole, and I'm not breaking it off to different states or whatever, but I've always seen the Tea Party as a racist, anti-government, Southern, and, you know, then you throw in, you know, places like Indiana, Ohio, you know, all of the little slave racist places that's in the Midwest, Kansas, you know, all of these different places, Oklahoma, all these places. I pretty much see it as a racist party of people whose ideology is that I'm white, and I'm right, and I'm in control, and I should stay in control and always be in control. Okay? Now, with this guy Rand Paul, you know, when he was running for the Senate in 2010, or 2009, or 2010, he was on the Rachel Maddow show. And she asked him, specifically asked him, about the Civil Rights Bill that, you know, back in the day. Well, he's one of these people who have those libertarian ideas, those Ayn Rand qualities teaching in his head that, you know, well, you know, people have the right to refuse service to whomever they choose. Well, you can refuse service to whoever you choose to and not serve them. But if you're basing that on a person's appearance, such as being Afro-American, then there's a problem. There's a discrimination going on there. You know, that's why I believe he's a racist. Because he seems to me as the type of person who would rather not go out to a restaurant if there's some black folks or Afro-American people eating in that establishment, and maybe even some Hispanics, you know. So that's why I think he's a little bit on the racist side, and he's a Tea Party member. Ted Cruz. Here's a guy who has a Spanish surname, and I think one of his parents is of Latino or Hispanic culture. But he himself, you know, and I don't know if dad and mom, you know, trained him that way. First off, and foremost, he's not even an American. He was born in Canada, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm not a what you call it, a birther. I'm not a birther type of guy. But he was not born in these United States. He might have grew up here in the United States, which I guess makes him an American citizen, and by his mom being an American citizen, that would make him an American citizen. But this is an ignorant ass person. You know, he is really ignorant, considering he's supposed to be, you know, a Princeton, Harvard graduate. His ideology is way out there in right field, beyond the scope of most people. He reminds you of the days when the Senate had these, you know, John Birch Society and all of, you know, that crazy crap. I mean, he's an idiot. He's crazy. You know, and this thing that he's been doing all summer, him and this guy Mike Lee, and in some cases Rand Paul, have been broadcasting these ads about the health care reform. Now, and let me make sure you understand something if you're listening to me and you're watching this video. Don't get it twisted with me because I'm an Afro-American that I support the health care reform bill. It's not going to change my health care, period. So don't get it twisted that I'm looking for something that's free or that's cheap. Everybody wants something that's cheap, you know. So don't get it twisted because I'm saying this and misunderstand who I am and what I represent. You know, I support the health care bill, and I support it because I experienced the insurance companies, you know, dropping you from the list. You know, I got sick in 2007, and my employer kept me on the books as long as they possibly could. You know, and I know this for a fact because every day I worked for a government, a city government, and they kept me on the rolls as long as they could. And then one day they received a letter from United Healthcare telling them that they had to take me off of the list because our insurance was in I guess you would call it an HMO, you know, for that city. So when they dropped me, you know, they sent me a letter telling me that I needed to get with this insurance. You know, it was going to cost me $400 and something a month. Well, I'm out of a job. You know, I'm ill, and there's no way I could have even afford that. But see, I'm a blessed person. You know, I've worked all my life. I gave my life. You know, I just happen to be a retired military person, and I had what is known as TRICARE, a federal insurance that kicked in, and that's one of the reasons I'm here today. That's why I support health care reform, is because insurance companies have a tendency to take all your money for all those years, and the minute you get really, really sick, they get rid of you. Then they don't have to pay that cost back. You know, one of my favorite sayings is, when it comes to insurance is a bill. And I don't care what kind of insurance you got: life insurance, car insurance, home insurance, health insurance, whatever. It's a bill you pay with no return unless it's something catastrophic happens. And in the insurance industry, when something catastrophic happens, they drop you. You know, and in all of the rest of them, if you get sick, I mean, if you have an automobile accident, they raise your rates. So, you know, insurance is a bill that you pay that you get no return on unless you die, have an accident, or get sick. You know, but this guy Ted Cruz, you know, he's been crusading. Him and this guy Mike Lee and Rand Paul, they've been crusading and running ads all summer long. Every time I look around, they had a ad on TV talking about repeal Obamacare, call this number, blah 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 blah. Well, you know, Rand Paul's a rich man, Ted Cruz a rich man, Mike Lee's a rich man, Marco Rubio's a rich man, and the majority of those Republican people that you see right there in your Congress, the majority of them got a pretty good chunk of change. They ain't everyday people. And plus we pay them $174,000 a year to run around and vote on repealing a law. And then we got $174,000 a year for them to cut ads to repeal Obamacare. So we just paying them to do everything that we don't want them to do. You know, the statistics show you that the people of the country want the insurance to be what it is. Let it go. Let it happen. Move on. You know, but they brought this all the way to the brink of a government shutdown. You know, And it's all because of a few people that call themselves Tea Party people, mostly made up of southern states, you know, the old Confederate states, and a few of the Midwestern states that are still clinging to the Confederacy or whatever it is the hell they trying to do. This don't really make any sense, you know. Our country's trying to make it out of the little recession that we had. We're pulling out. Things are beginning to get better. I can see it in my business that things are picking up. People are wanting to buy stuff, get stuff fixed, this, that, and another. But now they want to shut the government down. Bang. Shut everything down. Kill the economy. Because they don't want Paul Rand, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Mike Lee, Eric Cantor, and a bunch of other Republicans don't want you and me to have a affordable health care so that if we get sick, we can get some help. You know, it's just ignorant. It is pure ignorance that these people don't want you to have the insurance that you're entitled to, you know, at a cost that you can afford. Our wages continually go down, and you know, they're not trying to do anything to create jobs or anything of that nature. They just basically, you know, drawing a paycheck from us. The government shuts down, everybody stops getting paid that work for the government. A lot of the contractors that you know, sell the government stuff won't be getting their money until 2 weeks down the road. And if you like my children,